For 2 days, March 18th through the 20th, Pace University in New York City was the site of the 2011 Left Forum. The Left Forum is a series of annual seminars founded by the Democratic Socialists of America. Their theme, Towards a Politics of Solidarity. Organizers say this year's theme is the result of leftists, progressives, unions, and radicals feeling the Obama administration has left them politically fragmented. Here are comments from the forum.
To tell you, I've been in union leadership for 11 years, and it's not easy. It's not easy to turn this around. And there are lots of very important, things that one does. Sitting here at the Socialist or at the Left Forum, you may not like to mention.
And I want to argue, finally, that this is not simply a development which is operating at the level of electoral politics. It is a development, I think, which is intended to change the nature of the state. And what I'm going to suggest to you is that, in fact, if you look very carefully at the political strategy that's being employed here, it is a form of what I would call bourgeois Leninism. I know that if there are any true believing Leninists still in the room, that this would strike you as an oxymoron. But in fact, there are many historical examples of it, starting with the Kuomintang, which was founded as a Leninist party. And in education, you can see, when you look at this closely, an effort to pursue a Leninist strategy to change the nature of the state.
Thank you to all the panelists for the stimulating discussion. I have a few points and a question. I belong to both unions, although the UFT I'm on leave until I finish graduate school if I do it. But the first point I'd like to ask any of the panelists to maybe just sort of deepen, maybe respond to this question. You talked about privatization, neoliberalism, and you mentioned that it's a longer standing process. It seems to me that that is indeed true, and that's what gives it its power, because it seems like the nature of the international division of labor throughout the world, the nature of work itself is changing as capitalism has evolved. And thus the capitalist class globally, but also in the United States obviously, has felt the need to change the nature of public education. It doesn't seem to be relevant for their needs at this point. Maybe if you can comment whether you feel that's an important dynamic. I mean, I would say that as a teacher, this is very clearly a class assault, right? And it's also, like the professor from Columbia said, with very strong racial elements. It's a race assault as well, and there's gender elements as well too. So one of the factors that lets me say this is indeed a class issue, is that the attacks against public education on the K through 12 or the college level have been coming down from Washington, D.C. onwards, right? Duncan, Obama's Secretary of Education, Democrats, Republicans in Wisconsin, Democrats in New York State under Cuomo, and so on and so on. Bloomberg, doesn't matter, both capitalists. So please, if you can just respond to that. Lastly, the second point, as a communist teacher myself, I have to take issue with the bourgeois Leninist stuff. I don't want to go back to Russia, but I'd like to say something that I feel very strongly about, because this, I think, represents what Steve London, and I agree with him on this, referred to the crisis in union leadership. Now, I'm dividing unions. I'm 100%, I'm a union man, right? As the song went. But there is a crisis in leadership. In some unions, the crisis is deeper than in others. Steve London's PSC, I would disagree with the tactic in Albany, but you are taking militant action. That's good by my book, right? So in that sense, I even though I would criticize the tactical side of it, I respect that effort as an intensification of the struggle. Now, in the case of Leo Casey, as a UFT member as well, when you say dual power, I just want to take 3 seconds to clarify this for myself. Dual power to me means any kind of a political crisis, such as we had in Egypt, right, where mass uprising has eliminated the legitimacy of the state, of the government, and parallel governing structures are emerging, which is a profoundly democratic movement, right? It's happened in the French Revolution, in the Paris Commune, yes, in Russia 1917. That's cool. But why do you bring Lenin? To me, that tells me, forget about Lenin's, how you feel about Lenin or whatever, or the Soviet Union. That, to me, exposes profound anti-leftist, anti-socialist, anti-communist ideology And frankly, as the senior vice president of my union, I think that epitomizes the problem in union leadership. How are you going to fight for me as my representative if you have a problem with one of the fundamental ideologies and political traditions of the left, of organized workers throughout the world, and in America, from the Black Panther Party to the Socialist Workers' Party and to the organizations that I belong in, class struggle education workers, or the internationalists? How are you going to organize an effective struggle as a leader of the union when your politics are anti-worker?